Ladies and gentlemen, Cowboys Nation, welcome back. If you think you've heard all the latest NFL rumors, think again, because today we're diving into a story that has literally sent shockwaves through Dallas, Las Vegas, and every corner of the football world. We're talking about Maxx Crosby, one of the NFL's most feared pass rushers, a guy whose name alone makes quarterbacks sweat bullets, and apparently he's made comments that have left fans and analysts absolutely stunned. The rumors and chatter have been flying nonstop, and it all started with the statement that, depending on how you interpret it, could either mean absolutely nothing or signal a seismic shift for the Dallas Cowboys. Crosby, a four-time Pro Bowler and arguably one of the most dominant edge rushers in the game today, has been a cornerstone for the Las Vegas Raiders since they drafted him in 2019. Yet now, the idea of him potentially suiting up in Dallas has Cowboys fans buzzing like never before. And let's be honest, this is the kind of story that makes NFL off seasons and trade rumors so addictive. It's got drama, it's got suspense, and it's got the kind of player who can change the fate of a franchise almost single-handedly. So today we're going to unpack everything. What Crosby actually said, what it might mean, the implications for the Cowboys, how the Raiders might react, and what the larger ripple effects could be across the league. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. First, let's take a step back and look at Maxx Crosby's journey to this point, because context is everything. Crosby was drafted in the 4th round out of Eastern Michigan in 2019, which at the time was considered a steal for the Raiders. He quickly became a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, not just because of his size and strength, but because of his relentless motor and ability to read plays. Over the past several seasons, he has racked up sacks, tackles for loss, pressures, and forced fumbles at a rate that puts him among the elite in the NFL. In March 2025, the Raiders made it official by signing him to a massive 3-year, $106.5 million contract extension with $91.5 million guaranteed, effectively making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. This contract was not just about money. It was a statement that Las Vegas sees Crosby as a foundational piece of their future. It's a commitment from both sides, and at first glance, it seemed like there would be no way he'd even consider leaving. But of course, the NFL loves to throw curveballs, and the comments Crosby made recently have opened the door, at least slightly, to a potential move to Dallas. So what did Crosby actually say? But your reports have indicated that in a recent media session, he acknowledged that playing for Dallas would be special, but he balanced that by emphasizing that he is focused on winning where I am. Now, let's unpack that, because every word here matters. The first part of the statement, acknowledging Dallas as a special opportunity, is enough to set the rumor mill ablaze. It signals admiration, or at least awareness of the Cowboys organization and what it represents. It doesn't say he wants to leave. It doesn't say he's unhappy in Las Vegas, but it does leave the door slightly open. And that's all it takes for speculation to spiral out of control. The second part of the quote, focused on winning where I am, is the balancing act. It tells the Raiders, fans, and the league that Crosby isn't actively forcing a move. He's not putting out a trade request, but he's also smart enough to know how media narratives work. He's essentially acknowledging that the possibility exists while keeping control of the conversation, which is a very savvy move on his part. In sports media, a statement like this is like throwing a lit match into a dry forest. It doesn't guarantee fire, but it ignites intense discussion, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Now, let's talk about why the Dallas Cowboys would even consider pursuing Crosby, because this is not just a hypothetical wouldn't it be cool scenario. The Cowboys have been in need of elite pass rush talent to complement their roster and maintain a defensive edge, and Crosby checks every box. He's an established star, someone who can generate instant pressure, disrupt quarterbacks, and change the flow of a game almost single-handedly. His addition would immediately elevate the Cowboys' front seven and give them a level of defensive versatility they have been searching for. Like, not only would it enhance their on-field performance, but it would also send a signal to the league. Dallas is serious about competing for a Super Bowl, and they're willing to make bold moves to do it. This isn't a minor addition. Acquiring Crosby would be a franchise-defining move that could shift the balance of power in the NFC. Of course, the big hurdle here is the financial side. Crosby's contract in Las Vegas is massive, and the Cowboys would need to navigate salary cap challenges to make it work. There's also the question of what the Raiders would demand in return. Any trade would likely involve multiple high draft picks and possibly a combination of players and salary relief. That's a big gamble, and it's one that requires careful consideration from the front office. Speaking of the Raiders, it's important to consider their perspective in all of this. Las Vegas has been clear that they are not shopping Crosby. He's a cornerstone of their team, a player they've invested heavily in, both in terms of money and draft capital. From the Raiders' standpoint, trading him doesn't make sense unless they are offered something extraordinarily valuable that they cannot refuse. They see Crosby not just as a star on the field, but as a leader in the locker room and a face of the franchise. Any trade conversation would have to overcome significant institutional inertia, and it would need to be a mutually beneficial deal, not just a headline-grabbing move. That's why, despite the buzz, it's entirely possible that Crosby stays in Las Vegas for the foreseeable future. But again, nothing in the NFL is guaranteed. One blockbuster offer from Dallas or any other team could change the calculus completely, and that's why this story continues to dominate sports media. So there you have it. Cowboys Nation, Maxx Crosby's comments, the potential for a move to Dallas, the implications for both franchises, the fan reactions, and the larger NFL ripple effects. It's a story that combines star power, strategic thinking, and just enough ambiguity to keep us all on the edge of our seats. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any updates as this story develops. And I want to hear from you in the comments. If you were the Cowboys general manager, would you make the move for Maxx Crosby now, or wait for a more opportune moment? Let me know your reasoning, because the best comments will be featured in the next video. This is Your Channel Name, bringing you the biggest news, rumors, and analysis from